Number 20. Sekaiichi apples. Sekaiichi is a Japanese fruit company that has been around since the 1960s, and one of their prime products is their eponymous apples. So, how much are they exactly? Well, each Sekaiichi apple sells for $21. There is some justification regarding that high price point though. You see, these apples are not just like any other you see at the supermarket. Each one weighs approximately 2 pounds, and is over half a foot in diameter. Number 19. Ruby Roman grapes. Exclusively grown in the Ishikawa prefecture in Japan, Ruby Romans could be considered the Rolls-Royce of grapes. Specifically, they belong to a category called table grapes, which are the kind that is more suited for eating than, say, winemaking. If you're wondering about the price of this ridiculous circular fruit, I'm going to give you a moment here to prepare yourself for what I'm about to say. Ready? Alright, Ruby Roman grapes cost $21 each. By each, I mean per grape. Let that sink in for a moment. Bet you'd be grateful receiving one of these. Number 18. Senbekia Queen Strawberries. Known as the perfect strawberry. These are sold in packs of 12, priced at $85 each. What makes these strawberries so luxurious is that each and every piece within any given pack looks identical to one another, meaning each and every berry is hand-picked for their size, shape, and colour. Specifically, each Senbekia Queen strawberry must be just the right shade of red, the seeds must look gorgeous on its skin, and the green leaf on top must have just the right dark hue on it. Number 17. Square Watermelon. Selling for around $800 each. The square watermelon is just as advertised. It's a watermelon that is, well, square. In fact, this particular kind of watermelon is specifically grown as decorations in Japan, so it really isn't meant to be eaten. Now, if you're wondering about the peculiar shape they have, the reason behind that is because each square watermelon is grown inside a box to mould its shape. That's pretty much it. You won't gain superpowers or anything when you eat it. Number 16. Taiyo no Tamago mangoes. When you think about mangoes, chances are you won't associate them with having a price of more than $1,000. Exorbitantly expensive is not really a description you'd give a mango. The Taiyo no Tamago mangoes, though, indeed fall into that category, at one point selling for a whopping $3,000 per pair. These fruits are produced by, you guessed it, Japanese fruit manufacturers Taiyo no Tamago, which means egg in the sun in English. Keeping with their namesake, these mangoes are also shaped like an egg, which still doesn't explain why anyone would pay $1,500 per piece for it. Perhaps it's because these mangoes have less than 350 grams of sugar in them? Number 15. Gold bar shaped watermelons. To celebrate the Lunar New Year in Vietnam, farmers from its Hau Giang province decided to grow watermelons in the shape of gold bars. This is not all for ceremony though, as these specifically shaped watermelons were also sold for a very high price, which is about $75 for a piece. The thing is that you're not really paying for the fruit here, but are instead doing it for the craft that these Vietnamese farmers have dedicated themselves to in order to grow these fruits. Number 14. Buddha-shaped pears. In an unexpected turn here, this entry does not come from Japan. It does, however, also come from another Asian country, this time being China. Buddha-shaped pears are exactly as the name suggests. They're pears in the shape of a transcendental being. It gets its shape from a special mould created by Hao Xiansang, a farmer from China's Hebei province. Apart from its amusing little shape though, Buddha-shaped pears are advertised as fruits that grant immortality when consumed. That is, if you believe the ancient Buddhist mythology. At $9 per piece, this may seem a little out of place in this video, but I'd beg to differ when you consider that an ordinary pear goes for around 50 cents a piece. Number 13. Car-shaped watermelons. Jeez, the Vietnamese really love having their watermelons in different shapes and sizes. In what could possibly be the most ambitious shape they've tried to mould their watermelons into, farmers in Vietnam attempted to grow them in the shape of cars. Honestly though, these look more like bricks than they do cars. Still, its $500 price point makes it one of the most expensive fruits. Like I said earlier, it's all about the craft. Number 12. Densuk watermelon. The Densuk watermelon is known for its special taste, which people who are willing to shell out around $121 for a piece will tell you is, surprise surprise, sweet. Regardless of whether those guys were telling the truth or not, the Densuk watermelon is indeed one of the most expensive fruits in the world. Grown in Japan's Hokkaido province, This particular watermelon is also one of the rarest, considering that only 100 pieces are grown every year. As for its appearance, there really isn't anything special about it. It is round, green, and has seeds within its meat, so it's probably the rarity of the Densuke watermelon that makes it such an expensive piece of fruit. Number 11. Northern Territory mangoes. Okay, first of all, Northern Territory mangoes are just your everyday run-of-the-mill mangoes produced by Australia's fruit company of the same name. They can be found at supermarkets and grocers throughout the land down under, fetching for very reasonable prices. However, these mangoes are included in this video because of the fact that there was one time that a dozen of these sold for $50,000. That was in 2012 when a charity auction benefiting cancer research in Australia was held. So when you think about it, Northern Territory mangoes actually belong in this video. Even better, it got expensive for a worthy cause unlike most of the entries in this video. Hooray for mangoes! Number 10. Lost Garden of Heiligen pineapples. These pineapples are grown at the Lost Garden of Heiligen, located in Cornwall, England. Technically, you wouldn't be able to find any of these fruits in any store of the world, and that's because each and every Lost Garden of Heiligen pineapple is exclusively given to the farmers and staff of Heiligen as a reward for their hard work within a given year in the painstaking process of growing these pineapples the Victorian way. By that, I mean the staff only uses straw, horsewee, and dung during the process. If they were to be sold, though, members of the Lost Garden of Heiligen have decided that all their hard work in caring for these prickly fruits will cost you somewhere around $1,600 for a single piece. Pineapple? Pfft, more like fine-apple. Number 9. Senbakia cherries. The second entry in this video coming from Japan's famed Senbakia fruit company, which produces luxury fruits that go for ridiculous amounts of money, is their self-named cherries. Like their strawberries, every Senbakia cherry within a given pack is identical to one another. After all, that is Senbakia's whole shtick when it comes to selling their luxury fruits. Each pack of Senbakia cherries costs $160 and is made up of 35 pieces of these sweet cake toppers. Because of its price, these cherries are mostly just given as gifts on special occasions, and only to people who are really dear to you. In other words, you could say that Senbakia cherries are the kind of fruit you would use if you want to propose to your partner, or something like that. Number 8. Monstera deliciosa. Sounding like a sort of Harry Potter spell, this one is as exotic as they come, and it's probably the only entry in this video that properly justifies its rather high price tag. By that, I mean this particular fruit doesn't make use of any gimmick the way the other expensive fruits do. You see, the Monstera deliciosa can only be found in Central America, which means it is pretty scarce. Making it even rarer is the fact that the only ones that can bear fruit are the ones that grow in the wild, meaning that there really aren't any Monstera deliciosa that come from a farm. Apart from that, they are potentially deadly if you eat them ripe. So hunters of this gem of a fruit really have to know their stuff when looking for it. As such, each piece costs around $50. Number 7. Cupuaçu. The cupuaçu can only be found in South America and is not available in any other market. That is, of course, unless you're willing to buy it off online sources, in which case you'll probably have to cough up around $250 for a single piece. Regarding its appearance and taste, it looks like a giant cocoa bean that has a really hard shell, while its meat apparently tastes like a mix between pineapples and chocolate. Number 6. Heart-shaped watermelon. It can't get any more self-explanatory than this. They're watermelons moulded into hearts. Grown by a farmer in Vietnam, these specially crafted watermelons go for about $200 a piece. Apart from that, there's really nothing special about it, aside from its curious little shape, and that it's only sold by one source. Oh, its skin colour is yellow, so there's that. Number 5. Buddha's hand fruit. The Buddha's hand fruit really looks like a hand. Well, that is if your hand accidentally got caught in a meat grinder. Regardless of its appearance, this rare fruit comes from Hanoi, Vietnam. To be specific, it's grown in the Hanoi Duc district and fetches for the price of $400 a piece. As for its taste, it's said to be similar to lemons with just a tinge of sweetness in them. Number 4. Wine gourd watermelon. As with other entries on this list, the wine gourd watermelon demands a high price mainly because of its peculiar shape, which is already explained by its very own name. Grown in the Vinh Chu district of Vietnam's Dong Nai province, these wine gourd shaped babies go for around $200 to $300. If you're wondering, no, it doesn't have any alcohol in it, it's just all about the shape. Number 3. Deco Pon oranges. The Decapon orange is a type of mandarin orange named so for the company that grows them. In fact, you could think of Decapon as Japan's version of Heinz or Dole. These oranges go for $80 per pack, which consists of 6 pieces. Throughout the world, Decapon oranges, sometimes also known as Decapon citrus, are known as the sweetest and best tasting of their kind, hence the expensive price tag on it. It was especially developed by Decapon way back in 1972, which would also explain its size and shape, with each orange as big as a softball, with a shape more similar to a pear than any ordinary orange. Number 2. Yubari melon. This is a type of hybrid cantaloupe that can only be found in none other than Japan's Hokkaido region. As with the other entries on this list, the Yubari melon is considered the best of its kind due to its taste. Oh, and before I forget, each of these things cost around $11,500. As such, the Japanese consider the Yubari melon as a very expensive gift, which is to say it's really not meant to just be eaten. Number 1. Banana art. If there's one thing that really is unlikely to belong to a video of the most expensive things in the world, it's the good old regular yellow banana. That is, of course, unless you count what banana artists like Stefan Bruscher are doing with them. You see, in this weird and ridiculous yet fabulous world of ours, banana art is a thing, and it's pretty amazing. To be clear, it's when a person decides to use the fruit as a canvas for their work. For example, there are instances where these bananas come with a portrait of a mermaid. Other times they're sculpted and etched as if they were tattoos on human skin. These things fetch thousands of dollars at auction, and obviously they're not meant to be eaten. It may be bananas that people spend an obscene amount of money to buy something that will spoil in a few days. But let's be honest, pieces of art like these are